welcome to the Yin Class for this week. This week's theme is about cultivating gratitude for the people or beings who sacrifice so that we as individuals and as a collective can live healthy and happy lives. So you might have a beneficiary of your gratitude in mind, perhaps a first responder to COVID-19, or perhaps sort of the collective New Zealand response, if you're in New Zealand, for example, maybe being grateful for that, how that appears to be going successfully as of today, Easter Sunday, 2020. Or if you are observant of Easter itself or of Passover, then maybe you have a religious figure in mind that you would like to call to your mind's eye for this practice. Because it's a yin practice, we would like to have lots of props available so that we can use them. So find a sturdy blanket if you have one, a couple of big pillows or a proper yoga bolster, at least one block or book, and you might like to have a smaller meditation pillow. It's also really helpful for a couple of our poses to have a strap or a belt or a scarf, something long that you'll be able to wrap around a foot for a couple of our yin poses tonight. And then we'll take our centering in constructive rest pose, so you can lie down on your mat with your knees bent. Separate your feet a bit wide as is comfortable, and let your knees rest against each other. And then feel into what works for your shoulders and how it is for you to lie on the ground like this. And it might be that you're wanting something to cover your belly, maybe a little bit of weight on your belly, so you can bring a folded blanket onto your belly and then roll your arms open up to the ceiling so you can feel your shoulder blades making contact with the mat. We're going to spend 3 or 4 minutes here. And as you lie here, expand your chest in all directions as you breathe. So your breath becomes a bit deeper. You become aware of the pressure that the back of your chest puts on the floor as you breathe in. Slow the breath down so that each breath is full, and with each out breath you're emptying completely. And keeping this slow, deep, chest-focused breathing, call into your mind's eye the beneficiary of your gratitude. What person, group of people, or being or group of beings would you like to dedicate this practice to? Just being aware of the benefits to yourself of cultivating gratitude in your heart. So it's a really positive exercise for the mind, calming for your physiology. And cultivating gratitude can help us feel a little bit more in control of the perspective that we have on things. So finding things to be grateful for can help turn around a sort of mental stuckness. And let the full deep breaths filling up the chest, let them also invite the belly to relax. Invite your throat and face to relax. And as your body becomes softer and softer, keep in your mind's eye whatever you've identified as the beneficiary of your gratitude. And see if you can conjure up that feeling of gratitude in your heart. What does that feel like? What would it feel like? And we take this with us through the rest of the Yin practice. If you choose in this class, you might like to add a light ujjayi breathing. So in addition to deep, full, chest-focused breaths, you could also tighten the back of the throat a little bit, constrict the back of the throat in a controlled way so that you hear a little sound as you breathe in and breathe out, just very lightly. So someone a meter away from you might not be able to hear it, but you can just hear it as you breathe in and out. It's the same feeling in the throat as if you were trying to fog up a mirror. So just very light constriction in the back of the throat. But we're keeping the lips closed and breathing in and out through the nose. So if you're taking ujjayi breath, see if you can keep it with you as we begin to transition out of this constructive rest pose. Keeping some attention in your heart center, and slide your blanket off to the side if you have it on your belly. And then moving very slowly, you can bring your knees down to one side and roll onto one side for a breath or two. And then use the help of your hands to make your way up to sitting. Coming to kneeling or hands and knees, find your blanket now. You can also use a bolster for this. If you feel that you're feeling very open and comfortable in back bends and heart openers, then a bolster might be your prop of choice for the next couple of poses. But if that's not the case, then take your blanket and roll your blanket up into a long roll about the length of your spine. And this is what we'll work with as our prop of choice that will suit most people's bodies. You're going to want to have an accessible bit of wall for a couple of the poses in this practice. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. You could also use a closed door. Just make sure no one's going to come through the door while we're practicing. So once you've identified your bit of wall, you can slide your mat perpendicular to the wall, or you can be off your mat for these few poses. If that is going to be comfortable for you, that's fine. And then bringing your roll so that it will end up lining up underneath your spine. You can also bring your strap, and we'll sit with one hip next to the wall. So I'm sitting close up next to the wall. I have my strap in my hand, and then I'm going to pivot so that my legs are facing up the wall, and I'm going to push myself a little bit away from the wall so that my spine is resting on the roll. And I can feel the blankets opening my chest up towards the ceiling. The roll is all the way down at the bottom of my tailbone, and it's extending up past the crown of my head. So take a moment to set yourself up so you have a similar situation. And then finding your strap, bend up your right knee, place the strap around the ball or the arch of the right foot, and hold on to the ends of the strap, maybe wrapping them around your wrists so you don't have to put much effort into the hands. And have the strap long enough that your shoulders can still open on either side of the roll. And we bring the right leg in towards the chest for a hamstring stretch. And it'll take a little bit of effort to be here, but this is a Yin class. So as much as possible, we want to relax, especially the muscles that we are targeting with the stretch. So in this case, the hamstring. So I have a micro bend in the knee, and I'm not forcing the leg to stretch. I'm trying to keep it as relaxed as possible. My shoulders and arms as relaxed as possible. So it's just the weight of them pulling down on the strap. Once we've found our position, you can relax your face, close down your eyes. It might be nice to turn the lights down in the room that you're in. And in these moments of stillness within a pose, see if you can remain vigilant about where your attention is. So make a conscious choice where you'd like to focus your attention. And I would suggest focusing either on the area that we're stretching, in this case, the hamstring. How does it feel in that part of your body? How do those sensations change and move? Or focusing on the chest and the breath rising and falling there, and feeling the opening that the blanket rolled under the spine creates. So pick one. And imagine that you could fall in love with that object of your focus. So what would it be like to give the object of your focus your undivided attention when you notice the mind wandering away? Bring it back. And do that again and again. The use of your ujjayi breath will help you keep your attention on your breathing if that's what you choose to focus on. And if you notice that your edge within the pose, if your edge moves, make sure that you notice that and move with it. So if you feel like your body's opening and you'd like to go a little bit deeper, you can walk your hands a little bit further up the strap or take some of the bend out of your knee. And if the sensations become too intense, maybe backing off of the stretch. We'll take 3 more breaths on this side. And then bend the knee so you can remove your strap and let your heel rest on the wall. Close your eyes and feel both legs at the same time, noticing if there are any differences in sensation from one leg to the other. And then bend your left knee so that you can place your strap around the sole or the ball of the left foot. Find the appropriate positioning of your hands so that your shoulders can relax. Chest is opening with the help of the blanket, and you don't need to clench the hands or tense the leg to be able to hold it up. So we're relaxing as much as we can within this shape. And refocus. Where do you choose to place your attention? And training the mind is a lot like training a puppy. So my partner and I happen to have recently gotten a puppy. And every moment we have to be watching, so we're just vigilant. If we turn our backs, he wanders off and gets into trouble. And it's the same with our monkey minds. So unless we're constantly redirecting, our mind will wander away into the past, into the future. So we take on the role of teacher to ourselves, learning to observe, notice, and bring the mind back, bring the mind back. 3 more breaths with this hamstring stretch on the left side. And then bend the left knee. Remove your strap, stretch your left leg next to the right leg, and just feel both legs. You might feel blood pulsing, you might feel tingling or warmth or any sensation at all. What can you notice? And we stay in this position on the blanket unless it's very uncomfortable and you find that it's distracting from your practice or detracting from your practice. So make a decision whether you would like to stay on it for the next pose, or if you would like to, you can remove it and come to lying again on your back. And then we'll fold both knees so that the shins are parallel to the floor. You may need to slide back further from the wall. It'll depend on your hip angles as we cross the right ankle over the left thigh. So we're taking figure 4 pose against the wall. This posture is targeting the outer right glutes, so the right bum muscles. And you might need to slide yourself a bit further away from the wall if it's feeling like it's very intense. You can also slide your ankle closer to the top of your thigh or closer to your knee. See what works for you. And the point of the wall is so that we don't need to hold our left leg with our hands. So once you've found a position that you can sort of balance and relax, come to stillness. Just setting yourself up so you can feel sensations in the outer right hip, neither too intense nor too subtle. And then set up your shoulders so they're opening on either side of your blanket, or if you've removed your blanket, lying with the upper back resting on the mat. And if the mind is anywhere but on sensations or breath, now's a good time to redirect. And as with puppies, we respond best to positive reinforcement. So if you notice that your inner monologue is throwing around a lot of words like, oh, I should be paying attention to this, or why can't I keep my focus? Notice that that's counterproductive, and that the act of noticing, the act of observing is cause for celebration. So whenever you notice you've wandered off, celebrate that noticing. And bring your mind back like you would call a puppy back to you, happy to see it. Because this is a yin practice, we're really relaxing the body as much as possible. So the legs are both as relaxed as they can be, the torso and upper body, the head, throat, neck, all nice and relaxed. And staying relaxed allows the stimulation of the pose to land in the fascia, which can be really therapeutic. We take 2 more breaths on this right side. And now as we transition to the other side, can you keep your attention on the sensations or the breath that you've chosen as your focal point? So move really slowly, really mindfully, and see if you can stay with yourself as you shift to the second side. You might like to pause for a breath or 2 with both feet on the wall. And in your own time, crossing your left ankle over your right thigh, adjusting the ankle up or down, maybe sliding yourself further or closer relative to the wall. And then reaffirm your focus. Check in. Where are you with your mind? Are you on sensations? Are you on breath? Is it where you're choosing to be? And can you relax even more? Three more breaths on this left side. And then uncross your left leg. Bring both feet to the wall. And then lower your feet down onto the floor. And with control, really slowly roll off your blanket if you're still using your blanket. And you can keep your eyes closed if you like, using your hands to help come up to sitting. For the next posture, you'll need your bolster or pillow. And you'll need your strap. And we're going to lie with the bolster underneath our armpits in a gentle back bend. And from this position, walk your left leg out to the left side a bit. We're going to fold up the right foot and reach back to place the strap around the right foot. And then holding on to the strap, pulling the foot in towards our bum. We'll feel a thigh stretch perhaps. And you can even place your armpit over the strap so you don't need to hold it. This is a cattail variation. And if this is causing absolutely no stimulation in the right thigh, then you can come into an alternative posture, which would be lying on your back in a position like this, with the right heel next to your right hip. Left leg can be extended, bent, or even butterflied out to the side with a bolster underneath it. They're progressively creating more stimulation in the right thigh. And to add the effect of chest opening here, which we're getting in the cattail variation, you could have a rolled blanket under your chest, lying across the heart, so you have a similar gentle back bend to the folks in cattail. So if you're on your belly in your cattail posture and it's comfortable for you to relax your neck and let your head drop, see if you can do that. Just inviting extra relaxation into the body. You could also place your block under your forehead for support. And then focus again on your breath or on sensations in the right thigh. if you're focusing on sensations in the target area, the right thigh, every third or fourth breath, bring your attention into your heart. See what's happening there. See what you can feel. Maybe breath, maybe heartbeat, maybe you can feel different levels of pressure or tingling. Just see what you can feel happening in the heart. Check in. And remember to keep calling your mind back. With gratitude, with compassion. Refocusing and refocusing. Three more breaths. And then whether you're on your belly or lying on your back, prepare to slowly, mindfully transition to the second side. So it's likely that for this posture, what you needed on one side will be also what will work for the second side. So if you're in your cat-tail pose, you'll be on your belly, bolster underneath your armpits, perhaps a block for your forehead to rest on. And we'll walk the right leg out to the right and then bend up the left foot, placing your strap around the left ankle and then bringing the left foot in towards your buttock and then relaxing the head down. And again, if that's not stimulating the left thigh, you can come onto your back for a half saddle posture. With your blanket perpendicular to your chest, and you can decide what to do with this right leg. And in every moment, recommit to being here, being with breath, being with sensations. And now you can also choose to add in visualizing the beneficiary of your gratitude. See if you can hold that person or being, hold them in your heart. And you might feel some spontaneous gratitude starting to build there. if you're finding focusing is really hard, let it be hard. So accept that it's a challenge. Accept that, it's not going as well as maybe you wish it would. And be okay with that discomfort. See if you can meet it with open arms, with an open heart. We'll take 3 more breaths on the left side. And then take your time to move your props away. And let's come to lying, everyone lying on our backs, flat on the mat for just a brief rebound posture. So come to lie on your back. Feel your chest, feel your heart. Okay. If your eyes are closed, you'll probably want to open them and then use the help of your hands to come up to sitting. Find your bolster. And we take a side bend over the bolster. So you can bend your legs so that you have a stable foundation for the lower body. And then place your bolster under the sides of your waist and reach your arms overhead. So you may need some support of a pillow or a block under your head. You can find that for yourself. And if you feel that that takes the side bend out of your body, then lower the support a bit. And you can also change the positioning of the top arm, which will help bring the side bend into different areas of the rib cage. So I'm going for a bit of a stimulation on the side of my rib cage here, and my arm position with my left arm is helping that. And then relax and breathe and feel. If you feel your mind wandering, or if it has wandered and you suddenly notice, welcome it back. You can add your ujjayi breathing or the visualization of whoever you want to be the beneficiary of your gratitude.
You can add those things on to help keep the mind focused. So the mind likes movement, it likes shiny new things, so we can make some sort of focus, like a drishti for the mind, to help keep it here. Three more breaths. And now to transition to the other side, it would probably be easiest for you to roll onto your belly and then turn to face the back of your practice area. I will turn around completely so that I don't have my back to you. And set yourself up so you're side bending to the other direction. And adjusting the positioning of the top arm so you feel just the right direction of stretch. And notice where the mind is. And let's move away from focusing on sensations in the target area, and everyone move towards feeling into the center of your heart, cultivating gratitude there. So what does gratitude feel like? What does it look like? How would it appear if you could see it? And imagining feeling grateful. Is a powerful positive psychology. So you can also just repeat the mantra, thank you, thank you, thank you. And just saying those words, you'll probably have a bit of a physical connection to that feeling of gratitude. Let's take 3 more breaths on this side. And then slowly use your hands to help yourself up. If you're facing away from the computer or phone, you can turn around so you can see it again. And setting your bolster off to the side, take your time and come up to hands and knees. And then separate your knees out wide. You might like to face the long side of your mat so that there's some padding under your knees. Or fold up your blanket and place it under your knees for extra padding. Your big toes are touching. So here we're feeling a stretch in the inner thighs. And then to that, we'll add a forearm stretch. So play it by ear. You might like to do one hand at a time, turning the fingers towards you and bending the wrist.
If you have quite a lot of wrist strength and flexibility, maybe you've been practicing yoga for regularly for a long time, and your wrists are used to weight bearing and things like that, then you might choose to do both arms at the same time, taking more of the weight of your upper body. We only stay with the forearms like this for another 45 seconds. So if you've done one arm by itself, then it's time to change and do the other. And then turn the fingers to face the front. Take a breath or two. Might feel nice to sigh out through the mouth. And then we turn the back of the hand onto the mat. Again, you might like to do one hand at a time, or you can try both hands. Becomes quite intense then. And we stay here for about 30 to 45 seconds on each side. So I'll tell you when to switch if you're doing one hand at a time. Okay, you can switch to the second side. Taking 3 more breaths. If the sensations are intense but totally fine, see if you can just stay with them. If you feel, of course, that you're doing yourself an injury, then please come out, and that applies to all postures. Okay. And then turning the hands back onto the mat. Walk your knees in and sit up on your heels for a moment. Close your eyes and feel the forearms. Feel the wrists and hands. And then open your eyes, and we make our way down to our bellies again. No props necessary for this posture. Place your left arm in a cactus shape, so your elbow is at a 90-degree angle, and your shoulder, your upper arm is at the level of your shoulder. With your right hand, walk it out to the right side of your body and bend up your right leg. If your head feels comfortable resting on the floor, you can leave it there, or you can hover the head. As you walk your right leg and right hand in, we twist very slightly open to the right side. So we're stretching the chest on the left side of the body and the front of the left shoulder. If it feels comfortable, you can let your head rest on the floor. And if you feel that you can't relax the left arm, then try coming out of the pose a little bit. So walk your right hand and leg out to the right a bit further. We stay here another 30 seconds or so. With your next out breath, straighten out your right leg and come to lie on your belly. Just take a breath to feel the difference between the left and right arms. And then tent your left fingertips, bend up your left leg, walk your right arm out to that 90-degree shape, and we pivot open towards the left side, relaxing the right arm as much as possible. So keep gathering up your attention and focusing it in your heart center, cultivating that feeling of gratitude, saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Two more breaths. And then exhale, roll onto your belly. Turn your head to face the right side and relax. And then the last posture of this Yin class will be a forward fold. And you have a couple of choices. So your first choice for your forward fold would be a butterfly position with the soles of your feet resting together and your spine rounding over your legs. You can always have a bolster on your lap. You can adjust your feet further from or closer to your pubic bone to find a position that's comfortable for you, and then just let your body round. Second option would be a caterpillar posture where you have your legs outstretched but relaxed, and then you fold forward. Again, option to have a bolster lying on your lap, like so. And the third option is to come into a snail posture, which is an inversion where you would place a bolster underneath your low or mid back. So just make sure there's nothing under your head, and then placing the bolster under your back. You might need to adjust it a little further up or further down, and lifting your legs so that your weight is resting on the upper back, not the head or neck. Bulk of the weight's resting in the upper back. And this is also a forward fold. And whichever position you choose, bring your attention to the heart. What can you feel happening there when you say your mantra, thank you, thank you, thank you?
And if there's resistance to expressing gratitude, that might be because it requires a bit of vulnerability, a bit of humility. And if that's the case, just notice that. Notice your discomfort. And be okay with your discomfort. There's no need to force anything. And if you are feeling discomfort, can you tune into where in the body it's manifesting? So is there some sort of resistance building up in the body, some tension, or maybe some burning sensation, or any sort of agitation physically manifested in the body? And we'll take 3 more breaths in whatever forward fold you're in. And then very slowly, with the help of your hands, if you're sitting upright, you can roll up. And if you're in snail, very slowly curling down and lifting your body so you can take your bolster away. And now we make our way into Shavasana, the relaxation. So check that you'll be warm enough. You might like to turn the lights down in your room, or put some socks on, or maybe a jumper. Just moving slowly. And then there's an option to take your relaxation pose in the constructive rest posture we started in, with the knees bent, feet on the floor. Or you can stretch your legs long. Or you might like to move to the wall and have your legs elevated. And we'll stay in Shavasana for the next 5 minutes. And take this as a final opportunity to concentrate all of your attention at your heart and cultivate gratitude there, like watering a plant or throwing a pot. So we're putting effort into something so that it takes the shape that we intend. Saying thank you, thank you. If you've used Ujjayi breath in this practice, you can let that go so that your breath is just natural breathing through the nose. For the final 3 breaths, give 100% of your effort to saying thank you, thank you, thank you from your heart to the beneficiary of your gratitude. And then please take your time coming out of your relaxation. You can start to wiggle fingers and toes, or by all means, stay longer if you wish. Keeping your eyes closed if you can, roll slowly onto one side, and then help yourself up to sitting with the help of your arms. And once you come up to sitting, you can bring both hands onto your heart. And notice if you feel more connected to this part of yourself than you did at the start of the class. Thank you all so much for joining me for this Yin practice to cultivate gratitude. And I hope that you'll join me again soon. Namaste.